I just put up in that motherfucking.
Young black teens is starting to be a real big problem in America, and maybe I should say not starting. They've been a big problem, and becoming an even bigger problem is going to cause some real drastic responses to it. There was a recent shooting in Chicago over the weekend. I guess it was a loop shooting, and it's for the Christmas tree lighting. I think that's what it was for. And so I think 8 people were shot, 1 killed, so it's 9 in total. So we're going to take a look at a couple of videos of the reporting coming out of Chicago, and then just going to ask ourselves a couple questions as we go through these. So here's the first one coming out of Chicago, reporting on the loop shooting. So this is kind of a long video, so we'll stop and start it as we see fit.
The downtown alderman, and this is the alderman speaking here, so that's what we're attributing this to. He has posted a tweet or on X, 300 juveniles, he says, noted rioting in the loop now. At least 5 victims have been shot, 1 critical with life-threatening gunshot wound to the torso. Multiple police officers attacked and injured with mace and stun guns. At least 1 police officer has been hospitalized. That's according to downtown
Now, I must remind you that this is a Christmas tree lighting event. And this is 300 juveniles, black teens, rioting during a Christmas tree lighting.
Alderman Brian Hopkins, who has been very vocal, Robin, Cheryl, and Trey, about the need to have new rules of engagement for the Chicago police in terms of how they can deal with youth and how they can deal with large gatherings of youth that happen, as Cheryl, as you say, when the weather gets nice. And it became quite a political story not just a few months ago. Brian?
You know, as I'm listening to this, I'm just wondering how long before we hear the term black. These are black people, presumably, that were shot and black people shooting. How long before we hear the term black as opposed to youth?
Hopkins, one of the big advocates for allowing the police to have much more flexible rules, ability to declare a riot, declare an unpeaceful situation, and to clear people out. So these numbers that he's talking about are a lot bigger than we had heard earlier before. He's saying 5 people injured, shot, I should say, at least 1 with life-threatening wounds.
And there was always that conversation about the curfew between the mayor and the superintendent and the alderman, and that discussion was a constant discussion, and I'm sure this will become
So you heard her mention the curfew there. Here in DC, we have a curfew. It hasn't seemed to work because the rules of the curfew, how do you enforce it? Here in DC, it's 9 juveniles or more would be a violation of the curfew. So 7 juveniles walking together would not be a violation of the curfew. So you see how that can still be a problem.
very much needed topic once again. If he says he saw or he's getting information that 300 young people, and at 9:45 tonight, and I went to Rob's office, I went out into the newsroom and I said, you guys, something is happening downtown, not sure if it's a teen takeover.
I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves. 300 black teens unaccompanied going to see a tree lighting, make that make sense. A Christmas tree lighting, no less.
And everybody started researching on their phone to see if they had any information, if there was some kind of meetup, because it started to get violent. And then
Now, I want you to notice one thing, that this must be in a pretty decent neighborhood, because this is the Cirque du Soleil performing December 11th through the 28th. This is not some low-class neighborhood. This is an area Cirque du Soleil performances are very expensive. So this is a fairly well-to-do neighborhood.
5 minutes later, that's when the gunshots were fired.
And we saw these teen takeovers over the summer. They dissipated over the fall. Now we want to play an audio clip. None of us have heard this. Ravi, Cheryl, and me have been here with breaking news coverage, but I'm told this is the moment the gunshots rang out. Let's watch and listen. There it was. So we were.
You know, I was watching this on Ock Nation News, and I pointedly stopped the video right here. As you can see, these older people right here, they couldn't run from the gunfire. Everyone else, as you can see, scattered very quickly. Look how quickly these people are sprinting off.
This is the moment the gunshots rang out. Let's watch and listen.
And you see the sprinters. But the old people that came down here for the Christmas tree lighting could have just as easily been trampled or hit by the gunshots because they were not able to duck or run. These people probably, if they jumped on the ground and maybe broken their hip. So they just hope for the best. And there they are, unable to run or duck. This the older guy, the older gentleman here, he may even be on a cane. I'm not sure.
There it was. So we were talking about this,
Okay.
4 to 5. There it is again.
You know, Ryan is all the way at the north end of the building in the sports department on the 3rd floor. And his office and the sports department is right next to the L tracks. He said he turned at about 9:52. He looked at his producer, Mike Johnson, and said, those, I think,
Gunshots,
were
yeah.
gunshots.
So it sounded like 4 there, three in a row, and then
Yeah.
one more. And that distinctive sound. I mean, we have cars come down here, spin out in front of the Chicago Theater, horse around, get moved by police.
Doing
These
donuts.
doing these.
And you just look how just casually they mentioned the crime and violence in front of their studios, where presumably there will be cameras.
That sound right there that we just
Right.
different.
And
Rob,
there
we
were
looked at each
fireworks
other.
tonight at the Holiday Lights tree lighting ceremony. There were fireworks,
That
so
was
some
not
people
fireworks.
could have.
Yeah.
Right.
We knew it was a very distinct sound, and Rob just kept saying that there
Rob,
is
we're-
a difference.
We just looked at each other, right? Just right outside of our offices, which are very close to each other, here on the 3rd floor where I am, and it was obvious, and it was absolutely chilling. And you know, we cover all these kinds of things all around the city, all the time in different neighborhoods, different communities, and so on. But when it actually is happening in real time, you get an entirely different feeling about just literally how lethal the moment possibly could be. So that was quite a moment.
It is disappointing.
Yeah,
It is
it's
disappointing. We all love
It's
this.
very interesting. I'm not a newscaster, but I was streaming here one night and someone was shooting behind my house. So these are very real things in black neighborhoods. These are conditions that blacks create, and now these people are getting a taste of it.
City. This is home for us, and we love the people here, and it stings. It sucks.
We were also excited to start a newscast on a Friday night
it's
with
right.
joy and uplifting happiness and celebrations and festive holiday feel, and then that quickly turned. Our producers turned this around so quickly with the help of the team upstairs, gathering this video from one of our assignment editors. And, you know, it's heartbreaking to see the couple just trying to figure out where can they go to be safe.
That's
And
what I
then you see
mentioned.
the brave men and women, our first responders. They're not messing around. They're going toward the sound of the gunfire. Trey, I know you've been on the phone with us. Thanks for being with us. We're glad that you guys are safe. And what you saw as you kind of told us your firsthand account. Any final words? We got about 2 minutes before we get off the air here.
Yeah, I would like to add that there were security measures taken at the tree lighting ceremony, too. There were metal detectors, a different feeling that's now unfolded into this now chaos. A lot of people were out there for the first time. We were speaking to Chicago.
This is the first I've heard mention of metal detectors. I was on Ock Nation tonight, and I was saying, man, maybe metal detectors would have helped. I've heard that they had 700 additional officers, so 700 additional officers, metal detectors, just the mere presence of the police, and yet the black teens behave like black teens.
But you just really wanted to have a good Friday night. And obviously, the turn over.
Yeah,
Trey
obviously.
Ward joining us on the phone. Excellent reporting tonight. So we'll find out tomorrow, Cheryl, obviously an update on the investigation, but also what are the new measures going to be to keep everyone safe?
And new measures. I'm sure they have a lot of Christmas events coming up, and so now the mayor and the police force, they couldn't come up with measures to prevent this shooting at this event. Now they're tasked with coming up with measures to prevent shootings at even bigger events. Good luck with that.
Right, that kicks off at 6 o'clock, but road closures. There's a breakfast tomorrow morning. Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse are scheduled to be live on Good Morning America at 6:30 right here from our studio.
All right, no more Mickey Mouse. No more Mickey Mousing around. These people need to be honest about the problems that they're creating.
Crowds are expected in downtown Chicago as many people begin to celebrate the holiday season. Now, along with the festive mood, there are some concerns about safety after 2 shootings here in the Loop, one that claimed the life of a teenager. An increased presence of Chicago police is visible in the Loop tonight after 2 separate shootings leave a teen dead and some holiday revelers alert but not concerned.
Can't really do much about it. I'm just going to go out, live my life, not going to stay in the house all day.
The shootings happened Friday night after the city held its official Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Shots rang out just before 10 p.m., just steps away from the ABC 7 State Street studios. Police say they spotted a large crowd on the sidewalk in the 100 block of North State Street near the Chicago Theater when gunfire erupted and the crowd scattered.
It is. And you notice a constant passive tone to this event, gunfire erupted. They'll never say, well, someone was shooting at someone else and someone was shot by that person. No, they say random gunfire just erupted. As if it was fired randomly there by some mysterious figure. Didn't intend to shoot anyone. That's kind of the language that they're using.
Quite frankly, frustrating and quite upsetting when this type of violence takes place.
The mayor says city officials got wind of some social media posts about a possible teen takeover downtown and had been working for the last few days to try to stop it from happening.
There was a communication that was delivered to CPS to encourage young people not to participate in these unauthorized gatherings.
And so what he just said was the Chicago public school system was brought into the loop to try to stop this teen takeover. Again, is this the function of a school system? Is this what I'm saying? Like, the blacks have turned the school system into like part of parenting. It's been integrated into raising the children as opposed to teaching them. And you heard him say it clearly here that they have involved CPS to work with CPD to try to stop something that's not even during school hours. This is not a school concern. But yet here they are, involving themselves with the black kids. It's not even about education, because the black kids require so much aside from education. You got to keep them from killing people. That's what the teachers have to do.
Encourage young people that was
Days to try to stop it from happening.
there was a communication that was delivered to CPS to encourage young people not to participate in these unauthorized gatherings.
7 teens ranging in age.
So what he's saying here, if you really boil it down, is that the CPD presumably sent some information, instructions to CPS, the school system, to tell the school teachers to take some time out of their instruction to tell the kids not to go loot and riot and kill people during the tree lighting. That's what education has devolved to with the blacks. That they have to, involve and integrate crime prevention with instruction. And the teachers are not fit to do this. Who would want to teach where half of your job is being a crime dog, McGruff the crime dog?
From 13 to 17 were shot. Most are listed in good or fair condition. A separate shooting near Dearborn and Monroe, a 14-year-old boy was killed and an 18-year-old was wounded. Community violence interrupter Pastor Donovan Price says teens need supervision.
It's always one of these guys. It's always one of these guys. I wonder what I should look him up. See what his background is.
Vision, especially in large crowds.
Bring some family with you. Bring mom, bring auntie, bring somebody with you.
And listen, he got it all backwards. He's telling the children, why don't you bring your mama with you? See? You see what I'm saying? The mindset of these people is totally backwards. Pastor Donovan Price, we'll look him up.
Adult with you, and just watch out and be careful. We're praying for you.
The violence comes as a lot of people venture back downtown for the Chris Kendall Market and the Magnificent Mile Lights Festival.
Even though we had an incident downtown yesterday that was very unfortunate, nothing can stop me from coming to celebrate our city, the holidays, and lighting up Michigan Avenue.
Authorities say 18 people.
Now, wouldn't it be a better way to celebrate your city by quelling the crime and violence of your children? Right? Now, that would be a better way to celebrate the city. But see, blacks just love to celebrate. They don't want to do the work involved in making a celebration worthwhile.
Nothing can stop
Nothing
me
can
from
stop
coming
her.
to celebrate our.
I don't give a damn how many young blacks out here shooting. Nothing can stop me from coming to a good party. And see, this is one thing to the white people. Listen to the tolerance of her. Listen to what she's saying clearly. She's saying, I don't give a damn how much the young blacks shoot. Nothing will stop me from coming. Now, you white people, you're probably saying to yourself, I don't want to go to events where people are shooting. This will stop me from coming. Now, this black woman, on the other hand, is saying nothing can stop her from coming. You see the difference in the mentality there?
Unfortunate, nothing can stop me from coming to celebrate our city, the holidays, and lighting up Michigan Avenue.
Authorities say 18 people were arrested for curfew violations and various assaults. Chicago police plan on deploying an additional 300 officers on top of the already 700 assigned to cover.
That's 1,000 police officers to police teens. They won't say black, but teens.
For weekend festivities. City officials say they are continuing to closely monitor the downtown area for unusual activity.
And the next article discussing this is here.
A live look at North Michigan Avenue. Right now, we're the Magnificent Mile Lights Festival ended a little earlier this evening. Still some pretty good crowds downtown, as you can see. However, there was a very heavy police presence tonight following a rash of violence downtown last night. And that chaos caused by hundreds of teens flooding the loop prompted by social media. And it led to a shooting, several shootings that killed one teenager and injured 8 others.
The worst case scenario came to fruition last night.
Second Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins was in the loop Friday night as hundreds of teenagers ran rampant in the hours after the ceremonial lighting of the city's Christmas tree.
What I saw was teens with tasers, stun guns, bear spray, and mace, using it on police officers.
Now, I want you to listen to that. It bears repeating again. Teens, stun guns, bear spray, mace. They brought this to a Christmas lighting event. If the blacks really cared about Christmas tree lighting, wouldn't they do it in their own neighborhood? Wouldn't they have one in one of these ghetto neighborhoods where King Von is from in Chicago? A tree lighting. One of these rappers put up a big tree, put some lights on it, and invite all the ghetto blacks to come see that. But they want to go and invade where the white areas are. They don't care about Christmas or Christmas tree lighting. That doesn't mean anything to them. They're just coming to nice things, and they're bringing their ghetto violence with them. And the bear spray and all that.
Stun guns, bear spray, and mace, using it on police officers. You could tell that the atmosphere was ripe for a confrontation.
All of it happening despite the presence of hundreds of Chicago police officers, alerted by days of social media posts organizing a teen takeover. The shooting started just before 10 o'clock outside the Chicago Theater on State Street, wounding 7 teenagers ranging in age from 13 to 17. All were hospitalized with gunshot wounds, none of them life-threatening. Less than an hour later...
You know, people talk about cutting off the EBT. What about cutting off the health care to people that are shot and, stabbed in violent conflicts like this? That's more expensive than the EBT. And this could be avoided.
Another shooting a few blocks away at 140 South Dearborn, leaving a 14-year-old boy dead and an 18-year-old in serious condition. Mayor Brandon Johnson said parents and guardians need to be responsible for their kids.
Incidents like last night set us back as a city, and it evokes fear. Our young people have to understand that they should not attend these unauthorized events that have been advertised on social media. They are extremely dangerous due to the number of individuals that may be carrying weapons, especially semi-automatic weapons.
I wasn't going to talk about how do these teens have so many guns. These poor black teens, they put their money into things that they find worthy, that they find value in. They don't go buy books. They don't go buy computers. They don't go put money and get the extra tutorial to help them read. They go buy guns. That's what they need to survive in these ghetto neighborhoods.
Less than a day
Just a totally different value system.
after the Loop chaos, massive crowds were back downtown for the annual Magnificent Mile Lights Festival, along with nearly 1,000 Chicago police officers. That's double the normal number for that event. Police used barricades and city trucks to block streets and control the flow of pedestrian traffic, making an organized takeover more difficult.
I see so many cops and so many streets are closed.
Friday night's teen violence is prompting some aldermen to take a look at reviving the bill passed by the council last summer, but vetoed by the mayor, giving police the power to issue snap curfews when they see trouble brewing.
We'll look for some
For those of you that think that the curfews would work, during DC's curfew, I went down to one of the areas where the blacks were, well, still are causing so much trouble, and they arrested me for having my scooter on the sidewalk. Yet the blacks just a few feet away from me were violating curfew.
potential changes that could make it
The
more
police
acceptable.
don't want to deal with these blacks. Trust me, they rather deal with law-abiding citizens than blacks. They'll find some petty reason to arrest me versus confronting these blacks. Trust me on that.
To the mayor, clearly a majority of the city council wanted this ordinance prior to last night's bloodshed. If anything, even more of my colleagues, I think, would support it now.
Police also recovered 5 guns during last night's downtown violence, and they made
Again, I'm telling you, blacks bring guns to a Christmas tree lighting.
18 arrests.
And the final article here.
Heard shots. One teen is dead and 8 others are hurt in 2 separate shootings in the Loop.
Judy's live in downtown Chicago with the latest for us. Hey, Judy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning. Both shootings happened when downtown was packed with people following the lighting of the Christmas tree and the opening of the Chris Kindle Market. These incidents happened less than an hour apart. One was a fatal shooting. Of the 7 teenagers shot at this location, the youngest victim was a 13-year-old
I'm curious to know how many of those people live within a mile of this place.
girl. This video was posted on Citizen app showing people running when gunfire erupted at State and Randolph near the Chicago Theater and the old Marshall Fields department store. Several hundred young people were out. Chicago police say officers who were on patrol heard shots fired just before 10 last night. They found the 7 people shot. The victims ranged in age from 13 to 17. Paramedics took them to Lurie, Northwestern, and Stroger hospitals. CPD reported the injuries were not life-threatening. Police say no suspects are in custody, but officers were captured on video taking at least one person away in handcuffs. Alderman Brian Hopkins says officers were attacked, one of them hospitalized, and weapons were recovered. A police source tells WGN...
You can just see the behavior of that one. He's chimping out right there while he's in handcuffs.
Alderman Brian Hopkins says officers were attacked, one of them
That one right there, he's chimping out.
hospitalized, and weapons were recovered. A police source tells WGN officers were at the scene of the State Street shooting when the second shooting happened at Dearborn and Adams. This was at about 10:30 last night. There, police found one man who had been shot several times. He was pronounced dead at Northwestern Memorial Hospital.
Is that an Air Jordan? Air Force One, probably.
Shot several times. He was pronounced dead at Northwestern.
Somebody gonna be looking for that shoe. Look, I'm missing a shoe. It'd be a pair of shoes. You know they love shoes. What is this? An Air Force One?
Western Memorial Hospital. An 18-year-old man had been shot in the leg, and he was taken to Northwestern in serious condition. CPD says that man was unable to tell police about the circumstances of the shooting.
They never are.
Police report no arrests in the second shooting. Tonight will be another busy night downtown. That is when several hundreds, thousands of people will be here for the Mag Mile Lights Festival.
And we'll take a look at this minister, Donovan Price. He's the one that's probably going to make excuses for the blacks committing all the violence during these Loop events. And as I suspected with this pastor, he's been around the block with the blacks. So this is not his first rodeo. And here's some reporting from a while back about Pastor Donovan.
Seeing just, people
wanting to find their other people, find who was alive, finding who was, where their phones were, because they dropped them in the chaos, so they couldn't even call couldn't even
street pastor there.
find their car keys. It's something that you wouldn't expect to find in the city. We have a lot of shootings, but nothing like this.
Nothing like this. You see how, this is what I'm saying with the blacks, shooting and stuff like this is normalized. We have a lot of shootings. Yeah, that's true. But nothing like this.
Catch the late.
This is not normal. And so here's another shooting. Here's him speaking on other shootings in Chicago, and you kind of get the pacifist tone in his voice that doesn't seem to be working. A stronger tone of voice is definitely needed. And here's a clip where you hear him talking about the military presence that Trump brought into Chicago. And you listen to how he was speaking just a few months ago.
Can't even imagine, waking up and there were troops outside of my house.
Pastor Donovan Price is essentially a first responder, assisting families at crime scenes, so he sees the worst of it. Still, he does not think Chicago's gun violence problem warrants a military presence.
It's not a war. There's not a war going on in the streets.
You don't feel like we're in a state of emergency?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Perhaps 5 years ago or so, when the numbers were really high and crazy.
You think it would stall your progress?
Absolutely. Without a doubt, it would stall progress. It would stall hope. It would stall attempts of people who perhaps have never had anybody working for them.
Jamal Cole, the founder of My Block, My Hood, My City, a social organization targeting Chicago's youth, says this.
I think it's political theater, and we're focused on violence prevention.
And violence prevention, he says, is not a one-size-fits-all strategy that can be solved by the military.
Bringing more guns to Chicago is not going to drive out more guns. Only working with a boots on the ground social impact organization is going to be able to stop this violence. A domestic violence dispute that ends up in a homicide in Lakeview is not the same as a drive-by shooting in Auburn Gresham. And so instead of looking at the numbers and saying we have so much violence, we actually have to start looking at examining individual programs within communities.
So let me ask you this. If it's not the National Guard that you need, what do you need from the federal government to continue combating crime in Chicago?
How about they push some of these peace initiatives? Some of the things like myself working on the street is doing that's helping a little bit. And some of the things that the other people are doing.
There are still so many questions to be answered. If and when the military comes to Chicago, where will they be based? Will they be on the south and west sides of the city where crime happens more frequently, or places like downtown Chicago along Michigan Avenue?
So as you can see, this was in August. And he's saying that we don't need more police or National Guard. There's some other Negro saying bringing more guns to the city doesn't solve the problem. This is kind of like the upside down logic that the blacks have, that they think that they're going to solve the problems that they have in their community with violent people by nonviolent means. I don't think that's going to work. And so clearly this Donovan Price, or whatever his name is, that is advocating for as a violence interrupter, nonviolence means he's a street pastor. He's probably getting paid somehow to advocate these things that seemingly do not make sense. And as I was looking into that, I found this.
Is absolutely amazing. I mean, you just said it. He runs to help people. And we always talk about why I come on Fox, and that's to do good in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Nobody does it like this guy. Solutionsandresources.org is where you'll go to find more details. If you want to donate a little money, he can't ask for that, but I can, because what he does.
And there it is right there, solutionsandresources.org. And you'll find solutionsandresources.org. And what you find here is more than likely his funding apparatus, a program overview. And this is how the hustle is played out. And you see they'll have events, statistics, volunteer portals, and at some point you'll see where you can donate some money. And this is how the hustle all plays out. He has no interest in solving the problem because His website and his salary all comes from the violence. He's there at every shooting. He hasn't prevented one yet. Once again, I am John Galt, the Urban Landlord. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe.
I just put